All right, hello, good morning and welcome to another installation of JAE Consultant, fantastic 5 minutes interviews, where our objective is to educate, motivate, and inspire the next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, or quite simply just anyone who wants knowledge and wants to learn. My name is Ernesto Rodriguez. I'm the Chief Consultant for JAE Consultant, and I have a special guest this evening, or this morning, I should say. His name is Mr. Gregory Marsillo. So Greg, for those who may not know your background, you just share a little bit about yourself with us.
Hey, good morning, Ernie. Absolutely. Life began for me in Buffalo, New York, many years ago, and I was born into a blue-collar family. Hardworking people. Not only the immediate family, my uncles, they were all blue-collar workers. In my teenage years, I did whatever I could in small jobs to put money in my pocket. Ended up going to college and ultimately graduated. And during college, I actually won the lottery, knowing that I was going to be be drafted into the Army. So upon graduation, that's exactly what happened. And I parlayed my way into, because of my college degree, into something called the intelligence field. I wasn't totally aware of what it was, but I quickly learned that they provided good training, sent me to language school, and gave me money to buy you civilian clothes. So I ended up being a special agent in the Army, wearing civilian clothes, even though I was still on active duty.
Sweet.
And it was an eye-opening experience, and I said, this isn't all that bad. I think I'll stick around, and I did. 5 years later, I joined the Army Criminal Investigation Command, which I found very interesting and very dynamic, which kind of fit my personality. As I got promoted, I graduated from being a case investigator to running small teams, to running small offices, and then larger offices, and towards the end of my career, running the operations of 7 offices with jurisdictions in 11 states. Wow. During this time, I found and married a wonderful woman who's still with me, puts up with me, which is actually part of my success, I have to say.
Absolutely.
The Army provided me great training. They sent me to the FBI National Academy as an investigator, and also they call it the inspector course at the Metropolitan Police Department, Scotland Yard in London for 4 months, which was a very exciting experience for me. After I retired at 27 years,
Yes.
joined the District of Columbia Office of the Inspector General, and was put in charge of a division. I was a supervisory special agent under the Berry administration, so I found very exciting. And then after about 4 years, I got a promotion. I saw promotion potential, and I joined the DC Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking as an assistant director in the Enforcement and Consumer Protection Division, and retired as acting associate commissioner there. So I've been retired now for a little over 4 years. Filled my time in with being a volunteer historical interpreter for the National Park Service here in Fredericksburg. Civil War oriented type history, which I originally wanted to do when I graduated from college and never got the chance. So
you won the lottery.
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of parlayed that into public education instead of teaching at a secondary high school level.
That is so wonderful. You talking about a rich career. Thanks for sharing that. We only have 5 minutes, so I don't want to take a lot of time, but thank you for introducing yourself. I learned a little more about you, and it was a pleasure meeting and working with you while we were at the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking. So I want to ask you, what made you get into the field? I think you kind of covered that through the lottery and else. But just out of curiosity, what changes and trends, have you seen in your this vast career from the military to district government and so forth, in the investigation?
Right, right. I got kind of thrown into this field. I really wanted to be a teacher, and the Army gave me exposure to the world of investigations, whether they be intelligence investigations or criminal investigations. So it was kind of a destiny that I didn't know what was coming, but I had the tools to become a good investigator. And I guess I got into it with both feet and moved forward with it. I see a big change. Investigations are all about collecting evidence, and there's only two ways you collect evidence. You collect documents, documentary evidence, or testimonial evidence. Those are the two most important things if you want to resolve an issue. Whether you want to substantiate an issue like we did in the Office of the Inspector General, or have enough for an indictment in a criminal case. Now, the biggest thing that changed that I noticed, it's still walking and talking to people and asking for documents. However, the approach is all different now. We have search engines that I didn't have available to me a number of years ago that give you backgrounds on everything you're investigating. Social media is a big tool to help an investigator steer the investigations. And I remember working a huge government contract case when I was in the military, and we subpoenaed documents on a weapons system, and the contractor shipped over almost 2 million documents, hard paper documents.
Paper boxes.
Boxes, and it consumed an entire office space in a federal building. So by the time I got to the District of Columbia and we subpoenaed documents and say mortgage fraud cases that we were looking into, we got a little thumb drive or a disk. And that, needless to say, we didn't need office space anymore for documents, and the convenience of browsing through documents and just copying the ones you really need was times not only space saving but time saving.
Absolutely, and that's
so those were the biggest issues I noticed.
And that's funny because people have been interviewing, everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. Utilizing technology or leveraging technology to make things better.
That's it. It provides efficiency and effectiveness, actually, in your operation.
So what would you say makes for the best investigator?
Well, I came up with thinking hard, three things. First of all, you have to have a personality that adapts to situations. Let me explain that. There's a little bit of play acting involved in being a good investigator. If you're looking for documents or serving a warrant or a subpoena, you want to have that Clint Eastwood personality where you're dressed, you've got that look on your face, you walk in and people immediately give you what you want, okay? Because you look the part, okay? You look the part. And then play acting comes in when you want to develop investigations. You're not reacting to an investigation, you're actually or complaint, you're actually developing something. And to do that, you need human sources. Learn that in military intelligence and all through the criminal investigative experience I've had. And you can make some very good cases, but you have to adapt to each source's personality. You have to find out what they're all about, and use that to the maximum to get what you want. Okay, so there's a lot of role playing and acting involved in that. And then the last, a couple other ones real quick. Diligence. An investigator has to be diligent. He can't give up. He or she can't give up. You'll run into roadblocks, and you have to learn to either go over them, under them, or around them, one way or another. And that's where your character comes in regards to diligence. And lastly, and most importantly, honesty and trustworthiness, which is I can't emphasize that enough. And this leans on your managers, as people are supervising and managing you, as well as people, your coworkers, your fellow investigators. If you're not honest with them and straightforward and trustworthy, you'll be hampered to the operation and very detrimental to the overall environment of the office.
Absolutely, because honesty and integrity is like the building blocks of any relationships, even if you want to form one with a stranger.
Yeah, exactly. Be yourself. Don't try to be someone else. And you know, you don't get very far by cutting the edges on honesty. You just don't.
Yeah, I'm going to do a video when we're done with this about doing the hard things, right, and moving forward in life. You know, I've often in my career, I've often found that, you know, most of the opportunities lie in doing the hard things and taking on challenges as opposed to taking.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so definitely thanks for sharing that. Next question. All right, so with all that said, how do you best serve your clients?
Okay. Now, clients most of the time are complainants in the investigative field, or victims, if you want to put it that way. My standards have always been to promptly respond to a victim's complaint, no matter what it may be. Whether I'm doing a EEO investigation, I forgot to say that I was also in the ISB, an EEO officer and counselor. And when I was running the division, it was, you've got to get back to these people either the same day or the next day at the latest, and get your investigation kicked off. Most important. Second important, as important, is the updating the complainant or the victim. Remember, this is a service to the community. Yep. No matter where I was working, I was serving a community in a sense of investigative needs. So when somebody came to us, we treated them appropriately, got as much information as we could from them, and kept them informed all the way through the investigation.
I mean, it seems like that should be what anyone does, especially if you want somebody to do the same thing for you. Just a level of respect, communication.
And you can apply those principles in almost every field.
Absolutely. So with that case, then what advice would you give to someone coming into the field today?
Well, you have to look at yourself and see, are you flexible enough to be ready to do just about anything? This isn't investigations and investigative management of operations isn't a kickback type job. It's you experience new things every day, and yet there's a system that's in place that you have to follow, certain skills that you have to develop, certain protocols that have to be followed, and the challengings are demanding. So you have to look at yourself and say, am I willing? I'm willing to take the risk sometimes, because there is risk because you're dealing with not the best people all the time. Okay, so there's risk of personal harm. That's why we carried weapons most of the time, except in EEO investigations. But you still have to be concerned.
Absolutely.
You don't know how people are going to turn on you.
That's right. That's right.
But there's risk. There's paperwork. You got to know how to write. Put what you found down in a report so other people can understand what you did, such as attorneys and judges, supervisors. You're going to face court testimony and scrutiny in what you found out, and you have to develop a skill and a personality to address those issues. You're going to have odd hours. uh, investigations don't stop at 5 o'clock or 4
Right.
o'clock, and they don't start necessarily at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah, and most of all, there's a lot of stress. People are going to put a lot of stress on you to get things done, because everybody that touches are involved in an investigation operation, an investigative operation. There's an urgency about it. Let's get things done. Let's get things done. And so there's a lot of stress. So I would say if you're willing to put up with those type of issues, then the investigative game is for you. It served me well for let's see, 35 plus years.
It's education required for that field now to get into the
I've been finding out that education helps in some fields. You can be trained, but it's always good. It's always good to have a background, an undergraduate degree, because it exposes you to so many different things, and it helps. The more you know about life in the world, the better investigator you're going to be.
Definitely. At the end of the day, part of it too is instincts.
Yeah, yeah, and that helps though. So get a blend of all that. If you feel like you have the interest, if you have the interest, believe it or not, when I was hiring investigators, those investigators that were history majors I found to have very interesting skills in the sense of research and curiosity.
Yes. Those intellectually.
Yeah, they help a lot in becoming a successful investigator.
Absolutely. All right, last question. Here we go. If you're able to pass on 3 principles to the next generation for success in life, work, or even business, what would they be and why?
Yeah. Well, I tried to tap on all 3 of those areas, and I came up with 3 things that I've experienced over my lifetime. Is 1, you have to be people oriented.
Definitely.
2, when you're doing your business, you got to focus on your core service of the business, and I'll explain these in a little more detail. And practicing good personal health habits. Sometimes the simplest things are the most important things. Let me explain quickly. People person. Be a people person, meaning you got to have some sincerity with the people you work with and what you deal with. You got to be understanding of not only your manager or the people you manage. Very important. I'm not talking about being buddies with them, but certainly an understanding and a sincerity. And again, honesty and truthfulness in your dealings with people.
And get away from it.
Yep. This all, no matter what you do, this is going to, if you're in the business, if you're working, it provides and develops a professional and productive work environment, no matter where you are from that aspect.
Without a doubt. And I can attest to that, as having worked with you for a number of years in the past. I enjoyed our relationship, and I'm really excited at the fact that we managed to maintain our friendship even after your retirement and beyond. So thank you for taking the time to sit with me and share with me and some of my audience. And they're happy to hear from you, I'm certain, and I can't wait to post this and share it with the rest of the world. So thank you for your time. My name is Ernesto Rodriguez. This has been Greg Marsillo. And Greg, I know you're retired, but you're doing work in the community. So if you want to share a little more about what you're doing in the community, and maybe some others might want to get involved in that, you want to share that real quick before we go?
I work with the National Park Service and folks, and I use a lot of these skills that I developed over time to interpret history for people who are interested, and it's very, very rewarding. I have to say.
Thank you so much. Until next time, I hope I can later on down the road bring you back so we can share some more. I'd like to hear more about the military and the investigations and the stuff like that. I'm a military background, so I want to dive more deep into that. So nonetheless, thanks for your time, and you're welcome anytime to sit and talk with me.
Thank you, Ernie. It's been a pleasure. Nice seeing you again.
Absolutely. You take care of yourself, Greg. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye now.